Welcome to Shannon's Club TV, where all motoring enthusiasts can explore the rich heritage of cars on Australian roads and racetracks.
In each episode, we profile a different feature car with carefully selected archival images and new insights. We'll also get the latest news from the Shannon's auction team.
Today on the show, we take a blast down memory lane with Australia's first affordable sports coupe with a pedigree, the Alfa Romeo 105 series.
After an illustrious history on and off the track in Australia before World War II, Alfa Romeo didn't return until 1964. Australian washing machine and concrete mixer magnate Harold Lightburn had planned to add the new 105 series sedan and coupe to his primitive Zeta economy cars on Lightburn's Adelaide assembly lines as a further incentive for his dealers. The spectacular but not unexpected failure of the Lightburn Zeta spared Alfa Romeo from such a fate. New South Wales racing driver and car dealer Alec Mildren imported a selection of 1962 to 63 Alfa Romeos as part of his plans to field an Alfa Romeo racing team. After Mildren established Alfa's new range with several spectacular successes on local racetracks, former Lightburn dealers and fellow racers in New South Wales and Queensland had all joined Mildren by the end of 1965. Melbourne-based Murray Wright and his MW Motors network of enthusiastic country outlets joined former Lightburn dealers and filled the gaps across Victoria and Tasmania. Dealers in Adelaide and Perth quickly jumped on board. I'm not sure we have ever seen anything like this in Australia before or since, Mark. The new Alfa Romeo 105 series was so good that the cream of Australian enthusiasts and dealers spontaneously set up a national distribution network without Alfa Romeo lifting a finger.
It was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, they didn't set up the brand here post-war by setting up a head office. This whole thing was driven by enthusiasts, guys who like to race the cars, like the Alec Mildrens, the Brian Foleys, the John Frenches and so forth. Not only racing the cars, but then wanting to sell them to fellow enthusiasts. So it grew from the grassroots. It wasn't imposed from the top. It was an extraordinary situation, driven purely by passion and enthusiasm about the car.
And all Alfa had to do was get the cars to the gate. The rest was taken care of. As a result of this unprecedented passion for Alfa Romeo across the country, Australians would see one of the widest selections of Alfa Romeos globally, including the special-bodied racing versions. Yet it was the everyday 105 coupe that captivated Australians for over a decade. Released as the Giulia Sprint GT, its Bertone-styled body is credited to a young Giugiaro with a strong family resemblance to the big 2600 Sprint. This first version's finest moment in Australia was the Giulia Sprint GT Veloce upgrade in 1966, with its extra power, upgraded gearbox and contoured seats. But it didn't end there. There was a 1750 GTV with what many regard as the smoothest and most flexible engine in a 105 coupe. Just as the 1750 GTV defined a new peak, Alfa launched the 2000 GTV in 1972, looking as fresh and clean as Lightburn's original 1964 imports. During these later years, the junior 1300 versions had joined the range, and the original 1600 GTV made a popular comeback as the GT 1.6, before the last local 105 coupes were cleared in 1975. It's just amazing, Mark, that for over a decade, every 105 coupe could make you feel like you had won the lottery, and it still can. But even more amazing in this era of annual facelifts, this car was a racing success for a whole decade, start to finish.
It was amazing, and if the cards had fallen its way, it could have caused one of the greatest upsets in touring car racing history right at the end of its time in Australia. Sydney-based Alfa Romeo dealer and race team owner Alec Mildren was behind the 105 series coupe's early successes in the annual Bathurst 500-mile race, creating a halo of sporting sophistication and excitement around the Alfa's stylish body, powerful twin-cam engine, four-wheel disc brakes and superb handling balance. Top quality preparation and star drivers like Kevin Bartlett and Doug Chivers were hallmarks of Mildren's Bathurst campaigns. In 1967, his pair of 1600 GTV coupes not only claimed first and second in their class, but also finished an astonishing third and fourth outright and on the same lap as the all-conquering new XR Falcon GTs. Mildren's faster 1750 GTVs continued to dominate at Bathurst, winning their class in both the 1968 and 1969 500s. The definitive 2000 GTVs, entered by Alfa Romeo dealer and racer Brian Foley and other teams, took over in the 1970s Group C era, winning their class another 4 times and twice finishing second outright to big guns Holden and Ford in the Australian Manufacturers' Championship. Joe, there are few road cars that I can think of that were able to make the transition from road car to race car so quickly and enjoy so much ongoing success as the Alfa 105 Series Coupes. I mean, this must have saved thousands in marketing in launching what was a new brand for most Aussies.
It was amazing because the networks in each state competed against each other. They also had their favourite drivers that they sponsored. And the other states, like South Australia and Western Australia, they could look on and just cop all of this wonderful marketing glow from the eastern states. And the competition was intense because not only did they race themselves, their customers would come in and buy the cars and say, well, we want to race too. So wherever you looked, Alfa Romeo had this presence. And you'll notice at the time, you see very few ads in any of the magazines. It was totally done below the line with this dedicated group who just lived and breathed Alfa Romeos. Quite unusual.
No work for the corporate marketing man. Without doubt, the high point for the 105 Series Coupe in the Australian Touring Car Championship was in 1975, when Fred Gibson's wife Christine and her 2000 GTV stood a real chance of making history by becoming the first female to win Australia's premier touring car title. After the establishment of the factory-backed Alfa Romeo Dealers Australia team under Brian Foley that year, the petite Gibson was joined by Queensland veteran John French in launching a determined 2-car attack on the 2-litre class. Gibson scored 4 straight wins to not only lead her class by a handsome margin, but also be just 3 points behind the Tirana V8 of outright series leader Alan Grice and 2 points ahead of Colin Bond's HDT Tirana V8 with only 2 rounds remaining. Amazingly, Mrs. Gibson was also about 5 months pregnant with her first child at the time, but with doctor's approval was determined to keep going and try to win the championship. Unfortunately, the penultimate round was a disaster for the Alfa team, with French accidentally finishing in front of Gibson before both cars were disqualified after the race due to irregularities in suspension and rear bodywork. Christine's bold ATCC bid was over. Don't forget, you can find your favourite car club or event on the Shannons Club website.
My name's Mark Bagent. This car that I'm standing beside is a 1972 Alfa Romeo Gran Turismo Veloce 2000. This car is not used regularly as a road car or a day car. It was prepared and restored as a concours car 20 years ago, and it's still in that condition today. It's done 9,000 miles in that time, and in the last 2.5 to 3 years has spent its time in the National Automobile Museum in Launceston in Tasmania. It's an ongoing, off-the-road, unregistered vehicle. I restored the car over a 4-year period myself, along with a number of other experts in Brisbane. Over that period of time after the restoration, it won 6 concourses, including Best Paint of Show 3 times. I entered the car in the Australian Concours d'Elegance about 19 years ago. Mine was the only Italian car on the field, so I was very proud to have it competing against the Jaguars and the Bentleys and the very significant cars of the day. And I was fortunate enough to come out with Best European Car in class. They have an extraordinary style about them, which is quite beautiful. There's always a lovely rounded line, and no matter which way you look at this car, it has very delicate and highly honed lines. It was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro when he was 19 years of age and released in 1960, and this car ran through in this design style until 1977. I think I'll probably be buried with it. It's the type of car that I won't let go. I'm simply enjoying it as something that I've always wanted to own and always wanted to drive, and for me it will be a lifetime possession.
And now Shannon's National Auctions Manager, Chris Borobin, joins us. How you going, Chris?
Hey guys, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Chris, There seems to be a lot of activity in the Alfa 105 series coupe market, and it's right across the board. What's going on?
Yeah, look, a very affordable little car. I mean, we're seeing a lot of action in that market right now. A good, strong club movement as well. That's Australia-wide. We're seeing a really good following, good interest. We're seeing the cars, quite competitive in motorsport. From your club racing through to tarmac rallies, and also we're seeing it in historic racing in Group S and Group N.
We often talk about practical classics, cars that you can take your family out in, or cars you can go on drives. But the 105 series is amazing because it's just as popular as a road car as it is as a competition car.
It is, and I think that's probably why they become scarce on the market.
Yeah.
And when they do come up for sale, they get snapped up pretty quickly.
Chris, if you were buying one, do you think there's still some capacity for it to go up, and if you pour money into it? Because as we all know, they all rusted at some point. Worth spending money on, or do you have to buy right in the first place?
I think you always try and buy right where you can, but that's not always easy also. So you do the best you can to do that. But again, try and find a structurally sound car to start off with. Mechanicals, you can always get that sorted out on these cars.
Because there are plenty of good specialists around that just are passionate about these cars and love working on them. Absolutely.
We've seen, there are some great specialists Australia-wide on Alphas, and they're building some great mechanicals, great engines. Good car to have.
There's so much variety, isn't there? Like 1300, 1600, 1750, 2000. I mean, what's the most popular? What's the most demand for the 105 coupe in the auction sense?
Yeah, look, probably through us, we've seen more 1750s and 2 litre cars come through. But yeah, occasionally we'll get the earlier step nose cars, which are quite popular with collectors, and we're probably more in the club scene also. We're seeing a lot of those cars. But I think in a motorsport perspective, the 1750 and the 2 litres are probably the preferred cars.
Yeah, they were the hero cars on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Chris. It's a car we obviously like.
Yeah, I'd have one in the garage, I think.
I think we all would.
I think we all would, yeah. And remember, you can get all the latest auction news on the Shannon's Club website.
Joe, in this show, we've really spoken about that golden era for the 105 coupe from the mid-60s to the mid-70s. But that success wasn't to last. What happened?
Well, it had enough momentum to carry it through into the early 80s, I think, is probably when it ran out. Of course, we had the terrible rust problems in that period. It was around then that my boss at the time asked me if I wanted to take up an Alfa Romeo franchise, and I looked at it very carefully. I was very passionate about the car. But when I looked on the horizon, I couldn't see anything coming that you'd really want to sell. And fortunately, I didn't take it up because, as we all know, Alfa Romeo just suddenly packed up and left the country.
Yeah.
And left quite a few dealers in very awkward positions. And I guess you can say that just as the revival of Alfa Romeo was product-led, its demise was product-led.
Yeah,
and that's where it all ended.
Yeah, it was all driven by passion and enthusiasm, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this passionate and indeed personal reflection on the fabulous Alfa Romeo 105 Series Coupe. We look forward to your company next time on Shannon's Club TV. Bye for now.